For that, I'm going to call on Councilwoman Barbara Clark, if you will give us an indication, please.
Let us bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, here we come once again. Dear God, we come in and ask you to direct our path in this morning. Father God, we ask you to put your arms around this legislative delegation. Give them the mind to do what is right and the purpose for which they were elected to serve. Father God, we ask that you carry them to and forward to their destination. We ask, God, that you bless all the people of Jasper County. The ones that wanted to come but could not be here due to their work obligations. Father God, we ask that you keep us in the right pathway. We ask you, dear God, to look over all the elected officials that has assembled here in this room. Some are not here because they could not be here. But Father God, we ask that the business of this county be carried on in the appropriate way that it should be, and it is done for what is right and not for who we like. Dear God, we ask these blessings in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Let everybody that knows the word of prayer say amen. 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 Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you all would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on our agenda this evening is the approval of minutes from our September 25, 2018 meeting. A copy of those minutes is included in you all's packet. Is there a, I haven't read that. Thank you. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. And any abstentions? Representative Williams, do you want to abstain from that vote since you weren't here in September? Yes. Thank you. Maxie, you make sure the minute reflects that. The next item are some card grants. We have one for Jasper County and one for the city of Hardyville. Is anybody here from Jasper County to talk to us about that grant? Mr. Tedder, you want to visit with us about Sergeant Jasper Parks last pad?
I have to say I'm a little flat-footed on that one. So I'm not, Amy, one of my administrators was otherwise occupied this afternoon. Well, why don't we discuss this at our next meeting? That's right. If you could give me a little bit more detail on this, I might be able to jog my memory.
I believe it's for restrooms. $29,128 for outdoor restrooms.
Oh, yes.
Sergeant Jasper splash pad phase 3.
Yes, sir, I know a little bit about that. I think Sergeant Jasper, there are no outdoor restrooms. We have begun the process of building construction of indoor restrooms out there. One of the things that will be required is to hook up to water and sewer, which wasn't included in the original plan bid. So we've had to go out and get some easements because of the location of power lines, the overhead distribution lines for central power and SCEG or SCADA. So that's what that is for, is to upgrade the systems out of the park.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Any questions regarding this request for park funds? Ms. Maxey, obviously, we do have sufficient funds in our park account for both of these requests?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Davis. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Senator Matthews.
Any discussion on that?
just stated, I think that was already approved back when, Bill Bauer,
Right.
yeah, Bill Bauer was here. I think we just never executed it at the time.
I remember
There was
it
a
being
question
said
about
about, Senator Office and that's not good.
Maybe there's a signature of yours, I don't know the timing on when it was signed, there's a form in here signed by Bill Bowers, but it also indicated the factor weight of 40%, which I know, isn't correct, but at least this cleans this up, and moves it forward. So, all those in favor of approval? Thank you. Ms. Maxey, you have the form, you want us to sign off on it, we're going to pull this one out of my packet. Thank you. The next request is with regard to the city of Hardyville Recreation Complex, new off-leash dog park phase 1. Yes, sir. Mr. Parsons?
Yes, sir.
You're welcome. Appreciate
Good
you.
evening, Chairman, members of the delegation. As you all know, we came here during the meeting in September as well. Just a couple updates on those park projects. The scoreboard project at $12,000 has been completed. I have included pictures and stuff for you all to see if you have, if this actually has those. We are closing out that grant project right now as we speak. And it's been a great addition to the rec complex there at Hartville. The other one was for $5,000, including for continuation of planning for the future Hudson Park. And we have entered into an agreement with our Keeper Jones to do the overall master plan of that park. So just to keep you all updated where that project is, we're hoping that will close out within probably the next 60 days. So with this project, I'm presenting in front of you here, asking for $19,000 for an all-leash dog complex park right there across from the football field, called the football field. This is something that the city of Hartville has been brought to their attention several times that we're investing in. We have people asking for us, this type of service all the time. And this type of park is going to be really similar to the Oscar Brady Park there. Basically, it's got the same type of design on it. The city has already planned $41,000 committed with this current budget to get that project done, hopefully by the end of this fiscal year. And with that, I'm asking them whether or not need to go with the 41 that the city already has currently planned. So I think you all have part of the application there. I gave you some more images of what the new dog park would look like. We can say it's phase 1 because the total project cost of the project would be about $120,000, but phase 1 includes site development and actually fencing in place that we would have a true dog park. Phase 2 would be for parking, different things that's different structure, shade structure, whatever else that we would need to finish out that park. And we would be moving forward with that within the next fiscal year. So, if there are any questions there. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Senator May.
When you project that this will be completed, I know you have different phases.
Different phases. This first phase, we think that since money's already budgeted, we're hoping by the end of this fiscal year that project is finished up, the fencing and stuff is up, and then the site preparation stuff is complete. So
And the final phase,
we'll be the next fiscal year.
and how much do you suspect that you will have to request for that phase?
Coming back to you guys at that point, I mean, we'll have to look at our budget versus how much funds that you guys have currently left over, and then we'll try to fill in the gaps so that's possible. Right now, I can't say that we're going to be, full total project cost phase 2 will be $60,000.
Okay.
But at the same time, we also would have GQ Hudson park equipment, so that would make come back to you. So there's a whole list of projects. And if you've not been down there, we're currently doing a lot of projects, city itself too. We're resurfacing the basketball courts down there. We're getting ready to cover it up to the basketball courts with the on-site shelter. So that truly is almost a one-stop shop for any type of recreational needs for the community of the city of Hartville and Jasper County and Hughes County. So basically, once we had that done, we want people to come there, be able to enjoy the whole day, whatever that sort of stuff.
One question I have is, since I have my dog out in my car right now, and yes, the windows are down. One question I have is, where do you have especially on the big dog areas, what do you have for, pickup and the bags and the disposal of that, because that's one thing,
Yeah,
the
it-
problem I see with some dog parks, I don't envision.
All that stuff is, it has been talked about the plan for, and part of the actual overall budget, so when you start digging into it deeper. We plan on having those on all three of those lots.
Okay,
And if you've ever visited the one in Bluff, if not, I would recommend it. It is a nice complex, and the people that designed that is the ones that have designed it.
okay, so they are looking at it.
Yes, ma'am. Also with water servicing goals as
Right.
well, so if you want to get nursery stuff, we want to make sure that everything's okay up there as well.
It'd be nice to have more than one bench, but anyway.
Yeah, and also the sunshade, we're also looking at the sunshade as well. That would be, part of the first and second phases of that.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Senator.
Just one comment, as far as the success, as far as the growing, I just think we need it for years. Yes, sir. I'm glad you're doing it.
All right, thanks.
Any further questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
So,
Thank you, ma'am, and a second. And is that approval of the $19,000 request? Full amount of request.
yes, full amount.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approval, please indicate so by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay. Here is the endorsement coming around. The next item, water rec resources and our county game and fish fund. Is anybody from DNR here with us today? I don't see them. In your packet, it includes what the available balances are. Under water rec resource fund, it looks like there's $34,621.23. That report was last updated in March of this year, and the game and fish are $50,176.72. The request that is included is for $4,000 by DNR for 2 Jasper County fishing rodeos, and this is, the request is to come from the game and fish fund.
Mr. Chair, for some reason, I don't have that in my packet. I was just handed it. I'm trying to figure out is anybody here in reference to this?
It's, what is it, for the DNR?
Yes. I don't have it. No, he just gave me that. That's what I was saying.
Oh.
These are time to look at. He was just passed it. He just passed it up. Mr. Williams up now. Is there anyone here? No. Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
this is, I would request that we, I don't understand, the purpose of this. And doesn't seem to be a lot of, information, provided to us by DNR regarding this request for a rodeo.
Okay.
Unless you have got.
I got the same piece of paper you got. This. I haven't heard anything.
I just don't think a sentence requesting something for a rodeo without a basis and when it's gonna be done, and what money's gonna be used for is sufficient.
Okay.
If it's to put on a program, no. It's not. It doesn't say, it.
No, I know.
What is it by?
It is for, to restock the ponds for the 2 fishing rodeos. It's for fish.
How long is it pond?
I don't know.
Can't do
One is for Jasper County, well, they're both for Jasper County. 2 of them. It's 2 rodeos, he said.
it. Well, the deputy, if the director, Alvin Taylor, sent us something to give us some information on how we spend the state dollars, then we can look at it at this time. I would move that we,
Now, I mean, go ahead and make a motion.
that, I would move that we,
Continue.
we hold it in abeyance, we get further information.
So, Ms. Maxey, let me see, there's a second to the motion. So second. Senator Davis, thank you. Senator Matthews, I'm assuming that motion is hold this in abeyance and for us to communicate with DNR and ask to be provided more information about this request sufficient to make it a determination. Nancy, if you can take care of that. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, that would allow us to do this, if it is something, it's not online. And all the time, if it is.
No, I mean, it would require subsequent approval by the delegation. As to the circulation of petitions, I think the Attorney General has an opinion as to that, but we can call the meeting, obviously.
And just so it's understood, my name is the chair, I just need to know what funds are going to be stopped, to what degree, where the money's going to go. Because you know we're limited.
Okay, that brings us to a number of items that are discussion items on the agenda. And then also, while not specifically set forth and identified on the agenda, I do want to have an opportunity for us to invite public comment at some point. So unless there is a preference to do that at this point, we might just wait and do that toward the end of the meeting, unless there's a preference to do it now. Any thoughts? Okay. The first item on here is a discussion of boards and commissions, board processes, updates, and applications. And Ms. Matthews, you had indicated, Senator, that you wanted to visit about this, and you may want to advance some appointments that were discussed in September but not made at that point in time. So I will turn it over to you.
Mr. Chair, at the last meeting, and I'm looking at the minutes here in reference to that September 23rd meeting, I remember there was an issue with us sending out the request because it was either due in a storm or something, with us sending out to the public notices that certain boards and commissions were available. And so the notice did not go to the Jasper County news outlets or to the public in general. So there were several people that, because we did not properly advertise it, in my opinion, we were not able to fill all the boards that were open. And then we said that we would start, if I recall correctly, if I'm wrong, please correct me. We said that we would re-advertise those positions so that we could maybe get more input or persons that might be interested in the boards. As I understand, it was maybe just, I remember voter registration and elections of Jasper was the primary one that we were going to try to open up and get some other folks to that might be interested. Am I correct? Is that what that one?
Yes, ma'am. And I think my recall is after the meeting, Ms. Maxey was going to go back and see if they could do the investigation because of the passing of the clerk to council to see if there was an ability to confirm when that notice had been made with the hurricane and with the.
No, I remember her making, confirming that she was not able to get it out. It was there on time.
But then there was a suggestion that they didn't know until checking the county council records, and I think that has now been confirmed. Well, that could not be confirmed that it went out. So it puts us back to the point that that notice would need to be run for the voter registration.
How many seats were open?
I couldn't exactly tell you, but I think Ms. Bostic is here.
Is Ms. Walker here?
Find out from Ms. Bostic, is she here?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Boston, will you come on up for just a moment?
Good afternoon. We have 3 seats that are open on the board. Those individuals are still serving in those seats, but their term has expired.
So they're both, may I, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
When is the training, generally for, persons that we put on the, board for new members?
It's an 18-month requirement to get trained within those 18 months, and the state puts out the dates for us. So it varies. It can start as early as March or April and go through December. It just varies with the state. But right now, it's out there up until December of this year.
Okay, so for the upcoming year, we need to go ahead and get some votes.
Yes.
Are those 3 people that are in holdover status, are they desirous of continuing on with the commission, or, have they expressed their,
I'm not sure.
interest? Okay, and what are their names, please? Do you have the names of the 3?
Mr. Rodney Patterson, Ms. Denise Davidson, and Mr. John Kemp. John Kemp, Denise Davidson, and Rodney Patterson.
Okay. We'll check on it, thank you.
Okay.
Since. Subject to approval.
Are we intending, Mr. Chair, to, review the applicants now?
Well, Senator Matthews, what I was just looking at, that Ms. Maxey had, we're at the same point we were in September. And if we want to send out the notification now, not just for voter registration, but for other boards and agencies, that we can do so. One note that Ms. Maxey shared with me is, she is helping both delegations, Beaufort, Jasper. In Beaufort County, they send out their own notices, the election board, which is different from where we are in Jasper County. But we're at a point today, obviously, there are no elections coming up. We've got folks serving in a holdover capacity still, that not only those reappointments, but any other openings that we may have or vacancies could be noticed and a period opened and a meeting held, probably in short order since we're closing in on the end of the legislative session.
Does Ms. Maxey have information on any other boards that we need to be concerned about that have vacancies?
I was not able to help Jasper's repairs and speech from Thursday.
I understand you were out on your.
Sorry.
That's okay. At the appropriate time, Mr. Chair, I'd like to entertain a motion. I'd like to present a motion that we, I guess in the next month or so, advertise or is that give her a chance to research those, because there are other boards in a month or so, then we advertise those in the news, in the local newspaper, those persons that might be interested.
Okay. Senator, it's probably appropriate at this point, and if your motion is for Ms. Maxey to confirm all vacancies with regard to from the governor's office of all vacancies and or appointments or reappointments to be made by the body, and to solicit the nomination process through the local media, soliciting the assistance of Jasper County, which they have offered as an accommodation to us. Certainly sounds like an appropriate motion to make.
So made, and thank you for repeating it exactly.
Is there a second? All those in favor of approval, please indicate by showing about saying aye. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item number 7 on the agenda. And Representative Williams, I understood this was an item that you had indicated in correspondence you wanted to include for discussion at this meeting.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. It was brought to my attention from various angles. There were major concerns about possibly removing the requirements for signatures from the school board election here in Jasper County. And just wanted to get some feedback and see if there were any input from board members or from any of the other delegation members. There was some literature and some possible legislation brought forward on the House floor that I didn't object to because I felt that we needed to speak back to the community before we made any decisions as a delegation to move forward on this. My take on it that it has been that way ever since I returned to the area and began to work into the politics arena. So I just wanted to get some feedback before we as a governing body make a decision without hearing from representatives from possibly school board, kind of council, or any other members here that have been elected to represent the people.
Okay, thank you, Representative Williams. Is there anybody here from the school board, or quite frankly, in any other capacity that would like to address us? It's not a decision to be made by this body. But we'd love to hear from you if you'll come forward and give us your name, please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, my name is Joyce Gerald. I represent School District 2. Joyce Gerald.
Ms. Gerald?
I have a very soft voice and I'm an ex-school teacher.
That's
And I'm constantly under control of that soft voice.
Yeah.
I read my statements.
Your first name, please, ma'am.
Joyce. Joyce.
Joyce. Thank you.
Can you hear me? I have a statement I would like to read. And that is it, basically. I've lived in Jasper since 1986. I worked in the district initially as a teacher. I left in 1990, worked at Savannah, and worked there for a while. And on my return back to the district, Dr. Singleton was the superintendent at that time. He was an excellent superintendent. I moved to the district level. After Dr. Singleton left, I worked for 4 superintendents in a 4 to 5 year period of time. And I think that that occurred based on what I saw as a district level employee and witnessed the behavior, demeanor, and decorum of the school board. I think that it is essential that we open up an opportunity for persons who are in the community to participate in the electoral process, rather than beating the doors down with a petition. How are other persons elected to be in the state of South Carolina? This position is extremely important to Jasper County as a county, to the citizens of Jasper County. It is moving forward, and we want the best possible candidates to serve on the school board from a cross-section of the demographics. Currently, our school board represents one demographic area of the entire citizenship. I think that the process of having to acquire petitions on a signature is a damper on that process, and it may negate persons who may be interested in participating in the election process to be named or placed on the ballot to run for the school board. I think the position is important enough for us to consider a letter of intent rather than a petition. Why? Because persons who may be interested in doing a letter of intent or running for the school board may not have the time to live in my district, which is probably one of the largest districts in the county, I believe. So District 2 goes all the way up to Walmart, all the way back down to where I'm on Church Road, to one part of Tourist Road, which is one of the longest roads in Jasper County, all the way over to I call it the tiny circle of the city of Hollywood. It's a very large district. But when you consider the fact that within District 2 are closed communities that we cannot just go walk into and petition or knock on doors, which I love doing, and force me to come out of my box and actually meet people that didn't know me, because I've been here for a while. So I think that giving the opportunity for persons to participate in the process of being on the school board by having a letter of intent rather than petition will open it up to more individuals. Persons who may not have the time to get time off of work, to go door to door to petition. This position is not about friends, family, ethnicity, who we can, what church we go to. Our county and the future of this county is dependent on our educational system. If it's broken, and we will not bring businesses to the area. Our economic base will remain as it is. The heart of Oak, Mayor Williams, 150 death, and the heart of this is small part of Jasper County. We are huge, and we have a large population. And many people will not just open their doors to home strangers. But I don't believe that we're getting a full picture of what we can offer the citizens of Jasper County as far as school goes. And I am an elected official in school, but I still think that we should have elected lieutenant relationship. I just think that we need to move from where we have been to where we are now. It's one of the positions that's open to persons who want to participate in the election process that are being sealed because of it.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you very much for being here. Anybody else?
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Daisy Mitchell, chairperson of Jasper County School Board, and with all due respect to Ms. Gerald, and I understand the position, but as a board, we have not come together and decided that just what action we're going to take yet. So I do plead with the legislation delegation to just hold until we come to some kind of consensus as a board to get back to you. Up until now, we did talk with you at somewhere at TUDAC, and from that time, we have not really discussed the issues. So I do plead with you to just give us that opportunity to meet and make a decision and get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions?
Good afternoon. My name is Ted Moore, and I represent District 8 on the Jasper County School District. Well, I kind of started this here because I felt that we need to come into the 21st century. When I was up at TUDAC at the Columbia, the Capitol, where we met with our legislators, I did a poll of most of the school board members in the room who attended the TUDAC. And they thought I was speaking Greek when I told them that we still do the petition process. No one knew what it was. They thought that was going away years ago. So I understand community, but sometimes we need people who's in charge to make the best decision for the community sometimes, because a community could be divided or split. And so you'll never get a good consensus. So I'm asking you all to please bring us into the 21st century with our school board elections so that we can get more qualified, more people who will be interested instead of going into those neighborhoods and getting the 5%. So if there's anything you can do, like Ms. Daisy said, we haven't discussed it as a board, but I don't think 9 people have that power to choose for an entire county to decide what is best for the school board in the election process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Representative Harper, at this point.
I've met with some of the same people, and talked to some of the same people, and I think the genesis of this process was before there was mass media, before there was mass communication, when you had to, and now we're so past that in this day and age. Why would we put a barrier up in front of anybody? Is there any reason to be an elected official? It'd be like us saying that we have to have a petition to come and take our jobs.
Exactly.
It's just simply not right.
I don't think it is either.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Louise Rawley,
Thank you.
Jasper County School District 6.
Thank you, Ms. Rawls.
I just wanted to say that, I don't think it's, as elected officials, I don't think it's our call to make that decision. I think it's up to the residents in this county to make that decision. So I don't think as a school board, whether we decide that, come back. You guys do, we are all elected officials.
And I really don't think that's our fault. But that's my feeling on it. Thank you very much.
Ms. Roberts, so, Mr. Chair.
Please,
Ms.
Representative.
Roberts, so your feeling is that we need to possibly, at least consider 3% referendum?
Yes. Yes, I do. I really don't feel that we should make that call. I mean, you know, it's up to the citizens of this county. That's how I personally feel. I know a lot of people want to do away with petitions, but I personally, I guess when I ran in 2016, I really enjoyed meeting my constituents and getting to talk to them and know the people in my district. They got to know me and ask me questions. So that was my personal view on it. However, I would go along with whatever the majority.
I just want to clarify, your statement.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins.
Good afternoon. I'm Barbara Clark, Jasper County Council. I think it's time out for signatures. I think if you fear your life, you will be going knocking on anybody's door. It is too dangerous. A young man just got shot and killed, knocked on the wrong door. You can't knock on people's doors today like you did years ago. I see it as a safety hazard, and it needs to be changed. And like you stated earlier, this was done before we had the communication that we have now. And even getting signatures. I hear some say, oh, you meet the people. The people get to know you. The people cannot get to know you on one visit in your house to sign their name. Then there's too much confusion about if your name is William Milford Kirshner, and maybe on the petition, you sign Bill Kirshner. Possibly it's going to be thrown out. But the law is the intent of the voter. So that causes a whole lot of problems in our election office. If we have a letter of intent, and I don't see why it would bother you so bad, give everybody the opportunity who wants to run for a position on the school board. And this year, it was a mess, the last election. Some thought it was July 25th. Some thought it was August 25th. Nobody didn't have the correct time. And it was not sent out properly. That caused a lot of the problems. But if you have a letter, go and send a letter of intent, everything can move smoothly. And wasting time to put this on a referendum is absolutely ludicrous. You are the delegation. You represent us. It is up to you all to make that decision. And when I came before you all in September and brought this up, this delegation, all except one, said they didn't see any problem with that because we want to be like our neighboring counties. Beaufort County to the letter of intent. We want to be like them. So we don't understand. The school board, Ms. Mitchell said you hadn't talked yet. Well, this has been spinning around long enough for everybody to talk about it. It's time out for excuses and putting things aside. I want to see things done right and appropriately in Jasper County. And when you see someone that's holding on to antiquated stuff, it makes me wonder, what are their intentions? But I'm asking this delegation to do away with signatures before it calls someone out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Bolden, and I represent District 4. And I was newly elected in the last election, and I actually went to doors and various committee meetings and got the correct amount of signatures, and my name was placed on the ballot. There is a deadline, July 15th by 12 noon, to turn your petitions in. It may not have been clearly stated in the school board policy, but when you go to the election website, it's clearly stated how many signatures you need, the timeline, the deadline. It also gives you an opportunity to get a map of where your area is that you're running. So sometimes when you're running, not at large for a particular state, but the districts, people need to actually see you and see who you are. And that way they can associate your name with a face. And when you ask them to sign, a lot of them, why are you running for this? You're able to tell them and just have a little reading. Of course, you don't get to know everybody for a period, for such a short time, length of time, but at least they are able to associate who is their representative in that particular district. So in changing and bringing everything up to the 21st century, as it's been said, you have to still have some form of a method where people would know who's running in their district. You know, of intent still coming back and you still don't know your representative, sometimes it's the same. As a lot of people don't really know who the delegation is, but when they see Senator Washington's name, they know, oh, okay, I can associate that name. But this is a small town, small county, and it's not a problem that people want to know who's representing them. And the schools here are very important to the community. So when you make your decision, just take all of that into consideration, that who we're representing.
That's a question.
Yes.
Please.
Do you think, is mass media a better way to get out your voice, your opinion, your views than on someone's door? I mean, do you think you could hit more people on mass media than Facebook?
Well, actually, I have a Facebook page, but a lot of those people in the district may not be my Facebook friends, so I have to ask people to share it. So I think
Or
contact,
do you have a website?
I did not have to have a website because I was able to go around and look from the map where my district was.
So once you get past 5% of the people,
I exceeded that.
yeah, okay, so once you get past 5%, let's think 100% you get have access to your views.
100% now know who I am as well. I continue to go back to my district.
I mean, when you were
let
running,
me know. When I was running, yeah, I think the problem actually occurred when there were incumbents that knew the deadline and were late. And so a lot of things in this last election was brought out based on people not, thought they were going to get another position, they didn't get that position, so therefore they didn't put as much into this
let
election.
me ask you one other question. Do you think we should put up any barriers at all to allowing people to serve?
I have, no,
Okay, that's not.
no, I don't think there should be any narratives, but I also think that when you're sitting as, you know, you're talking about the school board, which is different. County council runs in, they don't have to have petitions, but they still have, districts, you know. So are we going to be measured and not the same as county council? Are we going to add more school board seats to measure? If that's the case, then I would solely support that. So that we have district one has county council position and district one has the same school board position. So when you're talking about dividing it up and talking about 9 members versus 5 members, then maybe we have a problem. So let's think about changing everything to match and have a balance.
That's something we can ask you for. Chairman, I just want to remind you, the date that's in the current bill need to be changed from August 1st to August 15th.
Yes.
Well, Ms. Foster, I need to ask her a couple of questions about the presence. Can I do that?
Please, yes.
Ms. Foster, when these candidates, proposed candidates bring in their petitions, who is tasked with verifying?
Me and my secretary.
Just the two of you?
The board has the option of coming in as well.
But generally in the past, who has done?
Me and my secretary.
General, and as I understand from reading the statute,
you have to verify the name and verify that they are from that district and that they are a registered voter.
That is correct.
How much of a turnaround generally in the past have you had in order to accomplish this?
How long does
To
it?
review it.
Well, we have, once we receive them July 15th, we have a month to get it approved to the state. Get it approved, get it to the state by August 15th.
Has that been a problem? It has been. Generally, about how many verifications for each district have you had to perform?
How many?
Say for one candidate, I think,
Well, you need 5% to qualify as a candidate.
it's about how much? How many?
Generally, we'll get over that amount, so we have to go through probably, if you got 13 pages, for example, you probably get to the 10th page and read that.
How many
that
pages?
And you got 12 names per page.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm David Streetsell, a Hartford City Councilman. I'm also a resident of Hartford, resident of Jasper County. I live in Sun City. When I went out to try to get elected first term, there's a rule in Sun City where you cannot do a solicitation, cannot go to a report. Okay? There are a couple of Sun City residents here. So what we're talking about, there are two Sun City North Side in Jasper County divided as people in the big section, District 6 and 7. So whoever's running from there can't really go and get people from Sun City to sign a petition, according to the engagement committee rules. So I'll leave you with that. I think it's, that's enough.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Hazel. I'm the school board in Jasper County for District 2. A couple of years ago, I attended the speech that was made by Dr. Rose Walden in Hardyville, County election. Dr. Rose Walden, she retired. Her district was in the same situation as Jasper County was. But she had turned it around. She just couldn't turn the corner. She was invited to speak. Dr. Walden said this. She said, one thing is going to take first, it's going to take time. And the next resource that she mentioned was parents. I'm going to be as brief as I can. The National Education Association said that parental involvement and parent engagement turns everything around for the students. There's a list here that I'm not going to waste to take your time on. But I'm going to make a copy and get it back to you. But the NEA says that in order for schools to improve, parents must be involved. Now, I've heard someone saying that we should be such as Beaufort County. Let me, now again, I'm not calling anyone anything. This is an old cliche. You can tell that I have age on me. There's an old cliche that says, lie is figures, but figures do not lie. And I'm going to give you some numbers. At the last board election in Beaufort County, not 10, 12, 15, but 20 citizens ran for 7 seats in Beaufort County. That's an interest. That's an interest and a concern in the school system. And we need it here in Jasper County. If we eliminate getting parents and signatures, we'll be segregating ourselves. We need to integrate. We need to do whatever we can to get parents involved. At the last election that we had here in Jasper County, comparatively now to the 20 that ran the school board in Beaufort County, we had one incumbent since 2012 as a write-in, received 52 votes. There's nothing involved here by parents. There's nothing involved here by the community. Another received 96 votes. Excuse me, 96 write-in, 86 votes. There is no participation of the community that's needed. One candidate who ran and went out and got signatures She received 431 votes. The numbers speak, gentlemen. But I leave you with what the chairperson said. Let this board work together. Let's come together and have a discussion and have a vote and get back to you. Please don't take this upon yourselves. Please don't. We need parental engagement and involvement here in Jasper County, which we do not have. We do not have it, and we need it. I met with 9 board members on this board. And I went to each principal. I said, there are 9 board members on this board, and not one of us has a child or a grandchild in the school system. Pardon me? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I said, give us some names of parents that will run the school board. I had 1 out of the 4 came to me and said, Mr. Hazel, I'll not be able to give your parents' names on the school board. We need parents on there who have a vested interest in children in the school system. They go in terms of what our chair said. Let this board work on it and get back to you. Yes, please.
Mr. Hazel, have you had an opportunity to look at for the school board that we have now, what the district lines or the lines look like?
Ma'am, I don't.
Does that play into it at all? It's okay if you hadn't. I was just.
No, I looked at it, but I cannot decipher it.
Okay.
Okay, my wife said she could say everything on there. She knows the street in Jasper County. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Just a quick question. I appreciate the comments. I'm trying to reconcile the comments of how parental involvement. Do you think that the petition process produces more parental involvement?
absolutely.
Well, I mean, you,
Go ahead.
okay, I'm a little confused because what you indicated is we don't have any of it, we need it today, and we got the petition process, and you commented that none of the current sitting board members, other than perhaps one that raised her hand, have children or grandchildren in the school. So I'm a little disconnected. I apologize that, and I appreciate your comments that how the petition process that we have today promotes parental involvement, which is the very thing that you're indicating is lacking today.
Yes, what I'm simply saying, yes, individual will sign a petition. But we as board members, we need to be working on trying to bring parents in and get them involved, rather than eliminating them by not including them, is what I'm saying.
But aren't we eliminating them by the petition process? I mean, if more parents had an opportunity not to have to go out and spend their time knocking on doors.
You say parents not knocking on doors, the candidates knocking on doors.
Well, if a parent wants to run for the school board, they would have to.
Yes,
So isn't that a barrier to parental involvement?
of course not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, John Kent. First of all, I belong to the voter registration board, but I'm speaking as a private citizen. I want to make sure you know that. I'm a private citizen, well, but I have knowledge because I'm on board. But I want to make sure I'm speaking as a person. This last election, we had 3 openings. We had 1 person that did the right way. We had no one to go. At the last minute, we had people trying to get on the board. And they were writers. They were very small. It was very small because it took them 4 days. It was 4 days. They didn't have any time to create something. I think that if you take away the petition, first of all, the petition right now, the way the state tells us, petition means really you just have to get names. We can't verify signatures. We are not experts on signatures. We are not expert on signatures. That's very important. So we just put up a barrier. There's too many barriers in this state to get on board. What happens if you guys had to do a petition? You know, what would you do? You'd be out trying to get names when you should be in the House or the Senate. And number two is, I always say that discourse is the best thing. You have many people on there, and it makes it easier to get on the board. They're going to be talking. And the dream will rise to the top, number one. Number two is, you find people that are really interested and they don't get elected. You know a name that's interesting. You need more people to be on the board, or at least apply for the board. And once they apply, then they can, you go out to meetings. There's a lot of meetings in this town. They go to churches, they go to Chamber of Commerce, they go to all these places. They can get known. So that's my side. Again, talking as a private citizen. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Pamela Williams. I'm an ex-member of the school board. I served for a few years on the board, and I don't want to use the word gerrymandered, but I was gerrymandered out of my seat. We need to open the board, have people come in from different places with different ideas. One of the problems on the board when I served, and I was told to my face, they didn't like me because I was a Northerner. Now, if that's a reason, then we need to get people a little bit more educated and a little bit more worldly on the board who can accept people from other places. I'd like to see it open where if I wanted to run again, which I don't, I'm on the election commission now, I'd like to be able to run if I wanted to. I don't want to depend on knowing someone to sign a petition. Either they like you or they don't, and they will sign it if they don't like you. It should be open. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. I don't know if this makes any sense what I'm saying, but it needs to be open. We have too many people moving into this area who are not in those little groups that want to serve, but don't know the right, quote unquote, people to go to help them serve. So it needs to be open. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anybody else that would like to address us? Mr. Taylor?
New members, I'm Jasper County Attorney. I just want to say that when it goes wrong, I'm the one that has to defend the election board, and I have to try and defend the statute. The act that we're working on right now is passed, I think it's 1988. Before that, it does not match up with any of the other elected officials' schedules for publication or petitions or statement of candidacy. And it was painful to have to go to the last election commission up in Columbia. I would just ask you, please, I'm not advocating for candidacy, I petition whatever y'all do, please conform timing to what the general election schedules are, the primary schedules are for local government under the general statutes, so we can avoid the problem of an off-the-wall August 1st date instead of August 15th and July 15th. Newspaper publications that don't match the cycles of the others. We just got out of sync over the last 30 some odd years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to address us on this point? There's been reference made a couple of times, and just for folks' information, it's not a matter that would be decided by the delegation. It's a matter that would be decided changing state law by the General Assembly. There is a bill pending in the House of Representatives that is pending in the Judiciary Committee to change from the condition method to the statement of candidacy. There's a date issue that's been brought to the attention, to our attention relative to that from August 1st to August 15th. That bill will presumably work its way through the legislative process, and it'll be passed, but there is a bill that, has been filed, and it is pending. So, I'm sure there'll be more discussion of this, in the community and otherwise as we go along. Representative Williams made comment, about the bill being introduced in the House, and I don't know, Representative Williams, if you want to have any other comments on this topic at this point?
No, we're just gonna wait and see how it works with the House and pass it or deny it.
Thank you all very much. Let's see, the next item that we have, on our agenda is with regard to the Board of Elections and voter registration. This is not about the appointment process. There are, as you all note in your packet, there's a letter with regard to precinct locations dated April the 3rd. Ms. Bostic,
Yes, sir.
would you like to share with us the background with regard to your correspondence?
Yes, sir. I don't know if you have two letters. One letter was pertaining to moving our Richland 2 precinct, which is currently at St. Anthony's Catholic Church on Highway 17 by Duke's Barbecue. They no longer would like us to use the facility, so we like to use Kingdom Touch Ministries. We have Richland 3 there and Richland 1 there now. It is their gymnasium, and they have agreed to allow us to move this 3rd precinct in there as well.
Okay, any questions from Ms. Bostic? Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to SC Code 77330C, the polling places for precincts, and precincts identified above in the statute are to be determined by the Board of Voter Registration and Elections of Jasper County with the approval of the majority of the Jasper County legislative delegation. So this is a matter in terms of moving polling places that is right for our consideration. Ms. Bostic, the board approved this?
Yes, sir.
And,
We did make a motion and it was approved.
and it was approved earlier.
That was approved in our February meeting, I want to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions or comments from members of the delegation?
My only comment is this: we're asked to do this a lot. I think it just makes it easier for the voters. I mean, there's sometimes horrendous lines. It's one of the reasons we do it. We're trying to do one in Beaufort County right now as well. So I mean, we have to go by the guidance of, I think, the election commissions to do that. You know, what we can do to fix it, because again, it's the last thing you want to do is have time barrier or any other barrier on the voting process.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for the timely question.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know if you have the second letter in the packet?
I
was gonna say this, because your delegation is pretty small compared to some of the delegations we're all, because we average future delegations, it would probably make it easier for us in the future to just, whenever you, these things pass your board, and you need to make these changes, just send all of us a copy of the request, and generally, we summarily just sign, approve, we don't want to micromanage you too much.
Okay.
Whatever is easiest for the electorate, we usually go along with it, just send it wrong.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's actually put this behind this statute. You don't have it in the
Mr. Chair, if you would, know we had some,
I know, she just gave me this, just a second.
if you could, I know it's pertaining to elections and voter registration. If I'm not sure if you communicate with the community, what's going on with the road and Hardyville and what we agreed upon with the locations. We'll talk about that at this point.
We haven't gotten there yet, but we take that matter up. The next is
Okay.
precinct, and again, that's not for the delegation, that's for approval of the General Assembly.
I understand, but I just thought maybe you
Yes, sir. That is the next item that I thought we would talk about after. I mean, this is a relatively perfunctory, matter, as Representative Burton said, just changing polling.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the precinct currently at 10128 South Texas Market Boulevard be relocated to 6714 Tillman Road, Richmond, South Carolina.
Second.
Oh, any comment or questions? All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Senator Davis. Representative Williams, the item that you're referring to next is as it relates to the polling, as it relates actually to the division of precincts. There is a legislation that has, pursuant to the Board of Elections request, has passed the House of Representatives and is pending in the Senate Judiciary Committee, adding a new precinct, Party Bill 3 and opening 2, based on the population growth. And again, that's pursuant to the request of the Board of Elections and Voter Registration. That request actually went to Revenue and Fiscal Affairs, the mapping folks, based on population numbers, and they came back. That bill passed prior to crossover the House, so it is in the Senate and could be acted upon in this General Assembly. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, unless there are other items with regard to the Board of Election and Voter Registration, I believe that fulfills the request that members had and the request of the board itself. The next, Representative Williams, you indicated you wanted to have a conversation about county council, number of seats, districts, that sort of thing.
It says Marshall Bright Matthews, but I'm not sure what you're referring to.
I think that may be a typo in the emails. It was, I see that on the packet material that was included, but that was included in the emails from Representative Williams.
I think it was, transmittals between each other, when we were in Columbia, and I had concerns about, we were concerns about the school board and removing, the signatures, and I did make a comment that, you know, we also need to take a look at possibly going the same with other districts in this county, as well as the neighboring county, which is Hampton County, the only two counties left in the state with, at-large elections, to make sure that everybody is represented in the counties. And that was my concern, it continues to be my concern. I know we're talking about making sure everybody is represented, and everybody has an opportunity on school boards to run. We need to make sure every district in this county is represented as well.
All right.
I see you have two council members here, I don't know if they, I have heard of some comments.
Why was county campaign?
Yeah, she's got a lot full over there. You know, when you go out of town, and you change your money, so. I think that this discussion on county council needs to come later. Because we can't do anything until the census are done. And the county council well understands their obligation and duties, what they need to do. And yes, I would like to see the school board reduce from 9 members to 5 members, like the county council is. Let us narrow each other, and then we won't have to worry about where our districts are. It's a good number, and you can get some work done. But as far as going to single member district, if it's going to be done right, then we will look at it along with our attorney and our voters office in Columbia. And we have talked about different things that we need to do. But right now, I think we got the cart for the horse. Let's address this later.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. I'm not, Ms. Taylor, you may be able to help clarify this, but just for everybody's edification, I don't think that the number of county council members or the districts of county council is actually a matter within the purview of the General Assembly. I believe that's for your own council or Jasper County Council to make those determinations. Is that correct?
Under home rules, those are county, local government decisions.
I just want to make a comment, I'm clearly aware of that, but I just made a comment that with this chairman and I were communicating, and I wanted to know that I had some concerns as well, so I am definitely aware of home rule.
And I think the parks is saying that the council is aware and is looking forward to what has occurred since the last census.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other questions, comments, with regard to county council? Moving on, delegation finances. Mr. Stetter, I think you might have information regarding our account balances.
Just 1 second, I had it a second ago. If I might digress just for a moment, I'm sure Mr. Newton is aware that about a year ago, or better, Jasper County was asked to start handling the delegation funds, which had been kept at the bank multiple account under the delegation purview. We set up a separate account for the delegation, South State Bank, and run all the appropriations through that account. As requested by the delegation and reimbursed whatever a cost came through that was approved by the protocol, the delegation chairman would approve any requisition for funding out of that, whether that be for Ms. Maxey, who's graciously been helping out in the absence of delegation, computer supplies or whatever. We've been reimbursing Beaufort County, who has been paying Ms. Maxey for extra time. I give you this number with the caveat that in looking at this, they haven't billed us since August, and we're waiting for the bills. They got caught up, so we're behind on reimbursement because we haven't received the request. The process through South State Bank has in it at this point $73,431. Of that money, you may recall that approximately $15,000 was escrow money from the Bank of Walterboro, which asked us, the delegation asked us to hold separately because of a prior employment issue. It's still out there, and it does not allow for that reimbursement back to Beaufort County that we're waiting for to get in this fiscal year out there.
You said it's Beaufort County?
Yes, sir. What has occurred since Ms. Maxey serves as the Beaufort County Legislative Delegation anyway, she has been working to assist your group, and if there's time involved, she is payroll through Beaufort County. They send a bill to us for whatever the difference between normal and extra is. Mr. Newton approves that request, and we send a check back to Beaufort County out of the appropriated funds that were requested last fiscal year. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is that a decision that has been made in the past that the chair makes that decision so on his own, or was it just out in the event of an emergency situation?
No, the delegation, the only authority is to approve budgeted funds to reimburse Beaufort County for the expenditures for Ms. Maxey. So it's not the chairman of the delegation doing anything other than approving appropriated funds.
I didn't have approved the amount of what was agreed upon to pay her or whatever out of it to be expected to be reimbursed. So that's, I'm just trying to get it clear. But if possible, I would love to get a copy of.
What I didn't realize when the actual report today, I didn't give them the right parameters, so it's overbroad, so I narrowed down the fiscal year. So you can see every expenditure that's out there since we started writing checks on behalf of the delegation for reimbursement.
This isn't necessarily,
Please.
this isn't necessarily about the expenditures, but, and maybe I should ask, the county administrator this, do we presently have allocated a specific delegation office?
Yes, you do. Mary Gordon Ellis building out on Graves Highway.
Can we get an upgrade?
Could be one.
Can we get an upgrade to this building? You don't have no space.
That's just where it's traditionally been.
Can y'all make the space? Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? And as a practical matter, we have not had any expenditures other than the reimbursement for Beaufort County for expenses of having the office that I'm aware of. It does bring up the question, however, that there was a letter sent to each member of the delegation from Jasper County Chamber of Commerce requesting approval of funds from the delegation to support Jasper County Day at the State House. And Tuesday, April the 30th. Tuesday, April 30th. I shared with you all in response to the email that was sent to each of you, each of us from Ms. Maxey, my thoughts on this, but the request came to the delegation. In years past, Senator Matthews, I know you are familiar and had the same concerns I did that the delegation, perhaps there were funds being raised and put into the delegation account from other than taxpayer funds, and that was not an appropriate item under the ethics rules and otherwise. So while historically Jasper County Chamber of Commerce may have received funding from the delegation, our only source of funds, period, is taxpayer money.
That's right.
And in my response that I sent to each of you all, my indication was, I certainly think it's a worthy and appropriate activity, and I am delighted to support the personal fund. I do not think that it's appropriate for us to spend taxpayer funds doing that, and since we get an allocation from Jasper County Council, they would be the appropriate entity as the entity that collects those tax revenues from their citizens to consider whether this is an appropriate expenditure of your fund rather than come through the delegation. So I'm happy to entertain a motion if somebody wants to make that motion, but if in the absence of a motion, it's a request that came to us, perhaps based on days of old when the Jasper delegation may have had funding other than taxpayer funds, but that's not the case today.
Mr. Chair, if I can just comment, while all of my colleagues really appreciate and look forward to the Low Country Boil, they consider it that it's Jasper County Day, that Jasper County Council is actually putting it on and promoting it. And they certainly are always there enjoying it and being the poster child for Jasper County to do it well. There's no way that I see legally and ethically that we can do anything for this. So I don't think we can take any action at all.
I think it's called contingency fund.
Thank you, Senator. The next item, Mr. Taylor, don't go far, discussion of late, since we have not had a full-time assigned delegation assistant, Ms. Maxey has been kind enough to fill in, as the delegation has indicated of late. I know that Ms. Maxey has been overwhelmed with a lot of activity, and you all have recently posted this job as an accommodation to the delegation. If you could just give us a brief update.
Yes, sir. After receiving the approval of the job description, it has been placed, I believe, this week in our two local newspapers, the Jasper Sun, the Gazette. I'm working with our IT department to get it posted on the other websites that general employment notifications go to. I apologize, but I'm under some constraints because of current litigation as to how far I can go for Jasper County to help y'all out. But I'm doing everything I can to balance the parameters that we can to get it out as many places as we can to set up websites as an accommodation, knowing that you don't have anybody here in the office to do that for you at this particular point. and this vacancy is somewhat limited in what she can do. But we're getting it out there. It should be out this week.
Mr. Chair.
Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may be appropriate, I ask that we develop a committee to at least take a look at the final 8 candidates, delegation members, or a committee amongst ourselves. I think this is something that should be done by delegation.
That's something that I would keep up. That's something that I suggested a long time ago, because a lot of times people will not see things in the newspapers or whatever, but we might come in contact with them. I've actually spoke to several people, said, hey, do you have anybody that may be retired, teachers or somebody in the community that might be interested in having an appropriate skill set to do this? I think if we ought to set up something among ourselves where we can at least get the top 3 candidates out. We look at what they have and bring candidates ourselves and try to get somebody in here, because it needs to be someone that understands appropriate technology and someone that has a background involved in the community and a professional person. But you might have someone from your area that you represent that you might want to present to us.
Sure. I've got no preconceived notions, after later in the meeting, I'm not gonna be the chairman, I hope. And, I have no preconceived notions how this would work. I did think it was appropriate that we solicit, this person will be an employee of Jasper County, assigned to the delegation or paid by Jasper County on behalf of the delegation, sort of a no man's land person, different than the arrangements that have existed in the past and with the delegation.
I get it, I appreciate that very much. That is going to be different. It will be.
Absolutely will. So, Representative Williams suggested that if Jasper County would do some sort of initial review of applications as an accommodation for us and perhaps pre-qualification and forward the top 5 or 8. It doesn't, I have no preconceived notions. If you all want to pour through the number of resumes that are submitted, all of them, and spend time for all of us to get together and decide whether they're qualified.
Unfortunately, I have to do this anyway as a part of what I do managing my office. I don't have a problem with doing it, but I know we need someone. And I'm not asking Jasper to, my suggestion, I understand what Representative Williams suggested, but my suggestion is maybe we, at least 2 of us, 3 of us, you form a committee of us and we look at all of the applications, not limit ourselves, look at all the applications, come up with 3 of them and bring them back to the entire crew.
I'm delighted by that. It's not going to be me, I hope.
I might clarify.
Yes, sir.
Again, I'm under constraints because of pending litigation. We cannot vet the applications for
In any way, shape, or
in
form.
any shape or form. The applications will be going to the Grays Highway or the Jasper County Delegation Post Office box. We're just accommodating because you don't have an account for the newspaper. We're going to get it going for you and you'll reimburse us for that. And so it's a fluid situation right now as to how much we can do because of the pending litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Stephens. Ms. Maxey, when those notifications go out on the job posting in the newspaper, you make sure to share with each of us on the delegation what that information is, so that Representative Matthews, as you indicated, if you know somebody who you would think ought to be appropriate to be considered, you might encourage them to complete their application in the same way that others are being invited to through the media. That might help for all of the resumes to be followed at least through one process for dissemination.
I'd like to hear from the rest of the delegation on whether or not they believe that we need to at least have a group, a couple of us go through vet the resumes and come up with a very small number for us to interview as a joint. If not, I'll do it by myself.
I absolutely agree with that. I think having someone to work with.
We just need to get it done, and we're all very busy, but we gotta do it. Maybe sometimes when Senator Davis is filibustering and the Senate, I can go through the resumes.
That'll be Tuesday, probably.
So the protocol that I'm hearing that folks are interested in is at least three, perhaps all members of the delegation be involved in some way, shape, or form of a review of applications that come back, and then at a later date, the delegation will get together formally and decide to conduct the interviews and move forward with selection. Makes sense to me. Unless somebody thinks there's a formal motion that needs to be had to outline that process, as the resumes and applications come back in, if we could ask you all as an accommodation to package those up and send a copy to each member of the delegation. As an accommodation.
Bring them to us, I'm sure I'm happy to get a copy for them, they're not going to come to Jasper County. They're going to come into the delegation post.
Okay, that's what, good, Ms. Maxson,
I would
help us do that.
just clear it up and clean it up for your purposes. I would move that at two of the members of the delegation, maybe three, but two, be selected to review all of the, resumes or applications, whatever form they come in, and provide at least a report back to the full delegation within 30 days after receipt of the resumes and applications. And then I'd be one of those persons. That's okay. That's not a motion.
Second,
Is there a second?
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is identified as an executive session. The purposes of the executive session are for an update with regard to pending and or threatened litigation and legal matters involving the delegation. I can probably take care of those here sitting as we are right now, unless somebody has a need to go or desire to go into executive session. And that is, as you all know, we were a party to the delegation itself, was party to employment litigation, and we have been formally dismissed from that lawsuit. So unless there is a need for more in-depth discussion, that takes care of the executive session item. Okay, that brings us to the last item on our agenda, and that is the election of delegation officers. In that regard, we have historically had two officers, a chairman and a vice chairman. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations.
Chairman,
Representative Burke.
I would move, we have Senator Davis as chairman, Senator, President Weaver as vice chair.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I believe I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to make a motion myself, go ahead.
I said when I came on Senator Davis, when I was elected in 2015, we previously, I was told that we did it on a rotating basis, but whatever way that the delegation chooses is fine. I think Senator Davis at that time was the chair, and who was the vice chair at that time? Probably, I think so. And then you took over, Representative, Newton. Since then, has anybody else been chair since then?
I have.
Okay, I thought so, okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, during the process, I would like to make a nomination as well. I would like to,
Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Senator Brett Matthews as chair and Senator Davis as vice chair.
Second. That's two motions, I know we didn't just go to one first, I know about that. That's why we said if appropriate.
Quite frankly, if the first motion carries, the second motion isn't necessary. I'm not concerned about actually having the motions on at the same time. Historically, this has just been by voice vote.
Actually, historically, from what you told me, what we discussed is we did this on a basis whereby you would have rotate this position, just like on most county councils and most school boards, you would rotate the position. I hate to tell you, but it seems at the last council meeting, you had to have the election at that time, and you were going to propose Representative Herb Kirschman. I am the senator from Jasper County. I represent almost 42% of Jasper County. I think it is incumbent that we have someone from Jasper County that has, it's that it rotates between Beaufort and Jasper County, that it's incumbent that we have me or either Representative Williams, since he represents 31%, that we at least have some say-so in what happens at least every other term. I'm not asking for every term, but every other term. And that is why I proposed myself at the last time, and you said, no, it was for Kirschman's time. Beaufort has had their time. I think it's time. We have a delegation secretary that's located in Beaufort, and now you're saying that we're going to have all of ours. And you say it's procedural, and you're right. But it is very important that we have a seat at the table, and that's what I propose. Not to say anything against my brother senator here, because he did an excellent job as a senator, but I don't see why the delegation does not feel that the person who represents, or should be looked over, that represents 42% of this district. And I'm sorry if I'm not doing it and being politically correct by not saying anything. And if you want to vote me out, that's fine. But you, at least, I would appreciate you at least being a man and voting and saying, no, I don't want the person that has 42% of Jasper County to ever be the delegation chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Matthews. Any other questions or comments? Okay, first motion to deal with was Senator Davis as delegation chair, Representative Williams as the vice chair. Motion made by Representative Burton and seconded by Senator Davis. All those in favor of that slate of officers?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
At this time, as vice chair, I'm going to decline my acceptance of the nomination.
Okay, we'll make a motion, conform the motion to Senator Davis as the chair.
And Senator right now is vice chair.
Okay.
Second.
Senator Matthews.
Decline.
Okay.
Senator Newton is vice chair.
And I will feel, well, hopefully I'll be able to make it all Beaufort.
You said an opportunity, Senator Matthews.
I would like to, that's why I knew part of what we were going to talk about in executive session. Since you wanted it open, tell me why I am the last person coming on after Senator Beasley.
I'll tell you what, we never had one, we never had a rule, if you just made that rule up.
No,
It hasn't been, yes, you did. I've been here longer than you have, and that's.
Well, you're the one who looked at me and said, it's gonna roll around you, it's your turn.
No, I
Which is fine. I think there's a motion. What is your motion?
Senator Davis is chairman and President Newton is vice chairman.
All those in favor of approval, please indicate so by showing of hands. And those opposed. Thank you. Okay, Senator Davis, congratulations.
Any further business come before delegation before we adjourn? Hearing none.
I have one thing to say before we adjourn. I am so sorry, we did not welcome you all up here to Jasper County. We want you to know that the county council appreciates you all coming and having these meetings. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you, I guess, in about what, 1 or 2 months, you said, we'll be looking back for you again. Thank you so much.
It wasn't easy.
But you got it.
Just as a clarification, this business was signing off on the reimbursement request as the chair of the delegation. Can I get guidance that I can now look to you to sign off our record keeping on the reimbursements?
Sure. All appropriated.
It's all appropriated.
It's not funds, it's all appropriated.
I just want to make sure we keep. Thank you.
The